Welcome back, everybody, to my favorite hobby, the Thomas Take. This is more than a hobby. This is my passion. I enjoy being on the air live, I should say, to talk Buffalo Bills football, to talk sports in general. This is the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Always has been, always will be, and I will always be the host. So here I am, another part of the Thomas Take, and I just touched on the quarterback situation in Buffalo. And in case you didn't listen, in case you weren't listening live, that's okay. You can go back, go to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast YouTube channel. You can go on Twitter. You can go on my Facebook page, the Thomas Take Sports Podcast Facebook page. Check it out. I really want everybody to contribute to this show. Even though you're not sitting in front of me talking to me on the show, there are so many ways for you to contribute to this show by contacting me on my Facebook page, Thomas Take Sports Podcast Facebook, YouTube, Twitter at Thomas Takeover, you name it. So realistically, I really enjoy hearing from you guys and getting questions, taking questions on the Thomas Take mailbag, which you can send to me on Facebook, Twitter, you name it. So that being said, over the course of the last few weeks of the training camps, season starting, preseason starting, I've had a lot of thoughts as far as what the Bills could look like, what the Bills could do to make their team better, what are some interesting scenarios. And one has played out right before my very eyes in terms of the quarterback position. And it involves another team. It involves the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs made a trade with the Buffalo Bills in the 2017 NFL Draft. The Bills moved down from 10th to 28th and also acquired a first-round pick in next year's draft, a 2018 first-round pick. That being said, the Bills also made another trade with the Kansas City Chiefs today. I touched on that in part one of today's segment of the Thomas Take, where the Bills traded second-year linebacker Reggie Ragland, the Chiefs, for a fourth-round pick in 2019. But I am here to tell you that the Bills have missed the boat. The Bills have made a mistake. The trade that the Bills need to make as soon as possible, as the days go by, it is calling to them loud and clear, is a trade that features the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills sending a third-round pick and Tyrod Taylor to the Kansas City Chiefs for Alex Smith. Patrick Mahomes looks like he is the starter there. Tyrod Taylor sure as heck does not look like he's the starter here. We do not want a fifth-round rookie quarterback starting just yet. That seems to be the general consensus at One Bills Drive and amongst the fans. Me, myself, I wouldn't mind seeing Nathan Peterman. I wouldn't mind seeing what we could get on our return for our fifth-round pick quarterback. But the Bills are trying to save face. The Bills are trying to put their best foot forward. Alex Smith is their best way to do it. And virtually, Kansas City has no reason to keep him. Kansas City has more reason to have Tyrod Taylor on their team. Because if Mahomes goes down, the offense wouldn't necessarily miss a beat. Mahomes is very similar to Tyrod in terms of his mobility, not really in terms of his arm strength, but he offers a very similar wild look to an offense that Tyrod Taylor does. Alex Smith, on the other hand, is definitely not in the Chiefs' future plans, or else they would not have moved from 28 to 10 and giving us a first-round pick next year to take Pat Mahomes. I really think that there's some legs to this. I really think that this makes a lot of sense. You have a basic, consistent quarterback in Alex Smith, somebody that Buffalo has kind of been looking for, a pocket quarterback that can just simply put the ball on the numbers and get us first downs. He was a former first overall pick. Did he pan out like the 24th overall pick in that year's draft, in that season's draft, 2005 draft? No, he did not. In case you weren't wondering who that was, it was Aaron Rodgers. But I really think when I look back at Alex Smith's career with the San Francisco 49ers, obviously San Francisco, quote-unquote, jumped the gun on Alex Smith because of the fact that Colin Kaepernick was playing as well as he was. And Colin Kaepernick was a fit in Jim Harbaugh's offense. Harbaugh wanted Kaepernick in there. So Kansas City had a vacancy. They had a spot that they needed to fill. They filled it. And now, here we are again with Alex Smith. Kansas City looking for that mobile quarterback that can add lib, that has adequate arm strength, that can roll out, make things happen with his feet, much like Colin Kaepernick could. And Alex Smith is the odd man out. But there's one team out there that has a quarterback that is very similar to Pat Mahomes, but doesn't have the arm talent, the arm strength, the intangibles that Mahomes has, and that is the Buffalo Bills with Tyrod Taylor. So why not? A third-round pick in Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod's essentially on a one-year deal. If the third-round pick that we got from the Philadelphia Eagles in the Darby trade, trading Ronald Darby for Jordan Matthews and Alex Smith, essentially, it's a pretty good trade. Trading Ronald Darby, Tyrod Taylor, in a roundabout way for Jordan Matthews and Alex Smith and the third. I think that's a pretty good deal for the Buffalo Bills. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I do also think that Smith is kind of at the Drew Bledsoe point in his career where he only has 2 to 3 years left on his contract, or not his contract, but in his career. Not much time left, but that's okay. We don't. If the Bills want to go this route where they go with a veteran, if it's not Sam Darnold, if it's not Josh Rosen, if it's not Josh Allen, why not go this route? Go with a veteran quarterback that does not turn the ball over, that is very, very consistent, almost like a fine-tooth comb. He's as vanilla a quarterback as you could possibly get, but that's okay. That's what the Bills fans have wanted. We've wanted a guy that can do the 5-step drop, the 3-step drop, and just sling it. And Alex Smith can do that. He also has some mobility. So there were reasons why he was a first overall pick, as ludicrous as it is now looking back on it, to where Aaron Rodgers should have been the first overall pick, obviously. But Alex Smith can play. He's had a serviceable NFL career. He's been a starter his entire career, outside of Colin Kaepernick, who, oddly enough, decided to get political and is in the position that he is in. In that regard, I bet San Francisco wishes they still had Alex Smith. Maybe. But it is what it is, and that is that, as I like to say. It is what it is, and that is that. But what do you guys think? I think that this has real legs to it. I think I can really push this message. I think this makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to continue to push this message of why not should Buffalo go out and try to trade for Alex Smith. Pat Mahomes was announced today to be starting the preseason finale. And yes, it's the preseason. Yes, it's not the regular season. Will he start week 1? Who knows? But it's an encouraging sign that it's week 4 of the preseason and they see him as a starting type quarterback. They want to see him get more reps with the ones for a reason. He is contributing as a quarterback 1 right now, where Smith is being phased out. So if the Bills have made not one deal with the Kansas City Chiefs, they've made 2 deals with the Kansas City Chiefs, why not make a third? Andy Reid and Sean McDermott are good buddies. Brennan Bean has some friends over there in KC. Why not? Let's make it happen. Let's see what this could bring to the Buffalo Bills. I think Alex Smith with Jordan Matthews, with Zay Jones, with Charles Clay. Alex Smith gets Travis Kelce heavily involved in the Kansas City Chiefs offense, a point that I didn't even think of until just now. We've been dying for Charles Clay to get involved in this offense, and finally, in some respects, he is, but in most respects, he is not. And in some respects, it's with Nathan Peterman, and in no respects, it is, or in some aspects, it is, some aspects, it's not, I'm sorry. With Tyrod Taylor, there's no connection. There's nothing there. I think Charles Clay could be a real key player on this team. If the Bills had a quarterback like Alex Smith, I think it would help them in divisional games, Jay Cutler versus Alex Smith versus Tom Brady. I think that there would be some competition there. I really do. And I think he could be here for the next 2 to 3 years, be that bridge quarterback for the next man up, and then he'd call it a career and he would do very well. I really believe this. I really do, especially with LeSean McCoy in his backfield. He's never had a running back like LeSean McCoy behind him in his entire career. I really think that this is a good idea, and I'm shocked that nobody has even talked about it. Nobody's even mentioned it. And I'm the first guy to mention it, and I think it makes 100% sense. 100% sense. This just flat out makes sense. And I think that the Bills would be making a grave mistake if they decide not to do this. I think there's a potential opportunity for the Bills to maybe go out and sign Alex Smith if he's a free agent next year. And that would be okay too, but why invest more time in Tyrod Taylor? There's virtually no reason to. There really isn't. They know what he can do. They know what he can't do. It's been proven. And the time is up. If anybody's time was up, it's him. Sammy Watkins was apparently considered to be a diva, according to former Buffalo Bills wide receiver Anquan Boldin, with the shot that he threw at Sammy. So maybe that was for the better. Reggie Ragland was coming off a torn knee. He wasn't fitting with the new scheme. I think it was a little bit premature in some aspects, but fitting in others. But in terms of a guy being expendable, in terms of a guy that hasn't really performed, the stat line says otherwise, but the wins column does not. Tyrod Taylor, it's time to go. Alex Smith, I would welcome you with open arms. And before the social justice warriors out there say that this is a racial whatever, please don't, because it's just a waste of your time and it makes no sense. I think that there's quarterbacks out there that are African-American that are the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Cam Newton, Russell Wilson being two of them. I was a huge Donovan McNabb fan. Was a huge Mike Vick fan. I know talent when I see it, and Tyrod's not talent. He's potential. And the Bills can't pin their hopes on potential anymore. It's time to get solid consistency, and Alex Smith can bring solid consistency at the quarterback position. I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the last final part of the Thomas Take. Thank you all for joining me on RockSportsNetwork.com. Thank you all for joining me on Twitter at Thomas Takeover. Thank you all for joining me on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast Facebook page and YouTube page. So long. Take care. Let me know what you think of the possibility of Alex Smith being the next quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. Take care.